My name is Kevin with the training team, and I'm going to be mainly doing the navigation piece, and Cheryl's the expert in everything actual travel. So I guess I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. And so uh, we've mocked up, like Michelle said, a user ID here. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Once you guys are connected to the VPN, you obviously won't have to do this user ID and password. But we're just going to go ahead and what you're going to be seeing today is a testing environment. So it mimics production environment, but it like you're going to see like things like MA1 environment, and you can just ignore that. So once you're getting into the system here, you'll just see Sigma 4. So we'll just start with the unified link here, just getting into the system. Agree to the terms and conditions.
There might be some odd things you'll see in this because we just accepted a new feature set into our test environment. And so there's certain things that might not mimic production, but hopefully that'll be transparent and won't even notice it. So.
Yep. All right, so we're logged into Sigma here. So the first thing we're going to want to do, you may work in different roles depending on what you do for your function or for your work. So what we want to do with time and travel is, first of all, make sure we're in the employee business role. So you may have multiple business roles. Just this is where you're going to find your travel expense reports. So once we get there, that will include the travel and expense report quick or travel and expense quick link. Which if you have draft or pending travel expense reports, they will be listed here in the travel widget, but you can find all the information from this quick link here. So I'll go ahead and click the travel and expense quick link. And do you guys do travel authorizations or no? Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. So we'll just skip over this and move over to the expense reports tab, and we'll click that. And I'm on a smaller screen here, so it would, if you're on a monitor, you would obviously be able to see all the information down here. But this is past expense reports, either drafts that you've started or ones that you've submitted and are not yet approved, or ones that have already been approved. So we've got ones down here that have already been approved and final. This is one that I've started in draft status. So I've just started the expense report, but I haven't finished it. So that's just scrolling down from the expense reports tab here. So if I do click the three-dot menu for that, we can view, edit, or copy this expense report forward. But for this example, we're just going to go ahead and create a new expense report by clicking the Create Expense Report tab or button. Sorry. All right, so this is where we kind of get into filling out information, required fields, and we're going to need to know some of the items we're going to discuss today. So obviously we've got our red asterisk here. These are going to be our required fields. So I'm just going to say I'm going to a conference, and the purpose of the trip is training. All right, now the trip's start date and end date. We can go ahead and click this calendar icon, select date, and I'm just going to choose November 5th here. We're just going to do a single day trip for this example. You can also enter the date directly in here if you do want to just type the date in there. In this testing environment, there is an error with that right now, but so just ignore it if you see that. But in production, that you are able to do that right now. So I'll just go ahead and do the same day. Let me know if I'm going too fast too. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Once we get to the information, Cheryl's going to talk about. I'll slow it down here. But so anyway, trip start date, end date, I'll just do a same day trip. And I'm going to start this we'll do 10 a.m. just for this example. So if you click this clock icon, again, you can click or you can enter the hour information in minutes. And as you'll see here, this will be 30-minute increments. And just a reminder, this is military time. So we do have all the way up to 2400 or 2330, I guess I should say. So I'll click 10 a.m. and the end time will go ahead and do 1800 hours. So 6 p.m. Now for the trip end date, you'll see 2330 is the end of the day. You can also type in 2359 and that will also work for the end of the day. But we'll go ahead and click. Yes. Yep.
Well, yeah.
Yep. All right, so we've got 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and enter the travel type. We're going to do in-state. And travel justification is only needed if you are traveling out of state. Okay. You can speak to that later, I guess, Cheryl. Yeah.
It's an option you can use. It's not, it's just.
The system won't hold it back.
Yeah,
Yep.
not necessary unless you're out of state.
Yep. All right, for the destination field, so we'll either use destination or a multi-segment trip. For this example, we're just going to go ahead and use the destination field here. All right, and if you frequently travel to, similar locations, instead of having to look it up every time, we do have a cool feature here. If you get into the search and select pick list, we click that. And I'll go ahead and let's just say I travel to Gaylord quite a bit. I can, putting the asterisks in here too, that narrows your search. You don't need to do that, but it helps out, just kind of pinpoint the location. So I want to make sure I'm in Gaylord, Michigan, not Kansas. And you'll see a heart icon over here to the side. And this is our favorite icon. So if we go ahead and click this and click OK, that will populate the selection. So if you're just going to choose it for this time, you don't have to click that heart button. But let's say, for the next time we come through here, we favorited that item. If we just click into here, that will, and give it a couple seconds, that will populate our favorited cities. So you don't have to like search for it every time, which is nice. So I'll go ahead and actually, I'm going to click outside of this. I'll also show you the type ahead functionality. So let's just say, instead of Gaylord, I'm going to start typing Traverse City. So I'll type in TRAV. And if we wait a second here, that will, actually, I'm not going to use Traverse City because it's a select city. That might be a little bit different, but I'll just go ahead and it brings up kind of like a Google search for the city that you're beginning to type in there. So I'll go ahead and click Gaylord, Michigan. And it's just a same day trip. So I'm going to leave this blank, overnight at a temporary location. So from here, I've got all my required fields filled out, except for travel justification that we'll discuss later. And we'll go ahead and click the continue button here. Now, something I forgot to mention, across the top of the page here, you're going to see 3 pages within the travel expense report. The trip information. These are items that's it acts as like a progress tracker as you're continuing through the travel expense report. So, yes, sorry. Yep, thank you. So this acts as a progress tracker as you work through the travel expense report. So once we complete all the fields here on the trip information tab, we can go ahead and click the continue button. And on this first trip information tab, when we click continue, that saves and validates everything that you've typed in. So if you have any warnings or errors that need to be dealt with on that first page, it will pop up on that trip information page there. Sure. Yep, so I will take out the trip start date, just show you how this validation works. If I click continue, that will highlight the field, and if I had multiple errors, I could click this ribbon over here, and that would display all of the different warnings or errors that I do have on the page. And instead of having to try to track down where it's at, this is actually a hyperlink where if I click this, it will take me directly to the warning or error in question.
That's a cool feature because before, and it even used to goof us up as owners of the system, there was no way to figure out exactly where the error was. And people asked for that. So just pointing that out and to say that we're improving the system all the time, trying to make the user experience better.
Yep, so for this, I'll just go ahead and complete that field. And once I click continue, let's see here. There we go. I just clicked save and moved on. I think that's just a test environment issue. Yeah, yeah. So you will not experience that. You're right. Yeah, right. Yep.
Dialed to you.
All right, so now we're on our expenses tab. So once we get here, you'll see right at the top of the page, this is the, this tells you whether or not an item or a travel expense is taxable or non-taxable. So we've got a quick link right here that will walk you through that process. So that's right on the expenses page, right on the travel expense report there. So let me get back here. Okay, so yep, I'll go right from the trip information. I'll move over. Once I click the continue button, that link is right at the top of the expenses page here. Determining tax treatment of expense reimbursements. Yep. And the main name for that is, let's see here. That is the financial management guide. Yep. All right, so I'll scroll down here, and this is where we begin to enter our expenses. So we've got, first of all, an empty table. So I'm going to go ahead and click the insert icon to add a row. And we're going to go ahead and my trip date is 11/5 to 11/5. So the expense date, I will, again, you can enter it in here, but I'm just going to go ahead and from the pick list, select November 5th. And for expense type, we can go ahead and search for this, or again, you could favorite the item. I think I already have it favorited in here. Or if you know the code, you can just go ahead and type that in. So for same day, I'm going to go ahead and click lunch in-state taxable. And you'll see that will actually, once I click that selection, that will auto-populate the actual expense here. That only works for meal items, and you do not have to attach anything here. This is this is what they pay out for the meal items.
This is what, if you buy a bag of chips and a bottle of Coke, you get $9.75 if you're in a non-select city. If you have a full-blown meal, it's $9.75. You don't get any more, and you don't get, actually don't get any less. So it's an arrangement they've made with the IRS, so it is legal. Yes,
Can you remind us when it's taxable, when it's not?
yes,
To do with overnight?
yes. If it's an overnight meal, if it's an overnight stay, then the meals are non-taxable. If it's a single day trip, think of, the meals are taxable. Think of this, you could take your lunch with you,
Okay.
but if you choose not to take your lunch with you and you choose to take, then it's
Then it's taxable.
it's a taxable because you could, you have to drive your car to the event. You have to do this, you have to do that. You don't have to charge for a meal. And
Okay.
that's where it becomes taxable.
All right, and so we just did a single day trip here, but I'm going to show you a cool feature that we can use if you had a multi-day trip. So if I go ahead, I've got my expense date and my meal type here for my in-state meal. So if I was there for, let's say, a few days, I could just go ahead and select this line item here, and this will make the copy feature available to us. So if I go ahead and click the copy feature, that will copy this line item, and then it'll show a paste feature. So if I go ahead and let's say I had a 3-day conference, I can go ahead and click paste and go ahead and click paste again. And instead of just having to, you could insert a new row, or this just makes it so, it copies exactly what you had if you had the same lunch every day. And then you would just need to get into the line item and change the expense date for the other lines. So it's just an easier, quicker way, more efficient way to, if you had multiple lunches, if you had the same selection, it's just a quick way to make those additional line items there. Right. And actually, I'll go ahead and just delete those. And
Oh, okay, stop right here.
yes.
If you ever get this message right here,
What does it say?
another user has changed the same row for the data object, new data values, new Data values have been retrieved. It is a bug in the system. It's in production. It's truly in production. It is a bug. What you need to do is just go up and hit the validate button. It may scream at you about an error, but go ahead and hit the validate. Now go ahead and hit those 2 lines, put the check marks back, and then hit the delete button. And then now it deletes it. So if you ever get that, just hit the validate and that takes care of that error. I don't know what, it's actually on the bug list. I do not know what causes it. I just know the workaround for it. So, or you can always call the help desk and I'll tell you right away what to do. It's a real simple fix. It's just an annoying problem.
What are the first couple of words of that error again?
Another user has,
Got
and basically, if you see something that says another user, hit the validate button. You may get errors on the validate because you haven't completed your expense, but those errors will let you then delete these lines that you wanted to delete or continue doing what you were doing. It doesn't come up on, always on delete. It comes up on, it randomly comes up. As you're working along, it'll randomly come up. It's like, okay.
For some reason, it thinks that somebody else is in the same document trying to fix it or change it. And so it's saying, timeout, stop, somebody else did this. Why are you deleting their work? And you're really not, you're deleting your own work. So you just have to kind of work around it.
Right. Good thing that came up.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, so from here, we're gonna go ahead and add another expense line. So I'll click the insert icon and choose an expense date, 11/5. And for this example, we're going to go ahead and add a parking expense. So if I click the search icon here, I can again narrow down by typing in parking and search.
No, you're wrong, dude.
Okay. Oh, forgot the wild. So let's see here. There we go. Just add my wildcards, my asterisks here, and then search.
Gosh, you must, the wild card, yeah.
Yeah,
On either side of it.
If you're not sure of the verbiage, yes, but if you know it starts with the word park, then no, you don't have to put the front one on. That if you're not sure of the verbiage, there's some things that I don't even know how the verbiage is. Yeah,
yep. So if just adding the asterisk beforehand here, that's if like it was in the middle of the word or something. But if it starts with parking, then it just, yes.
you have to have it exact, you must have it on the end. Because unless you know, cause see, go down, Kevin.
But if we have it on either side, it'll find it regardless.
Right,
Yep.
yeah, if you had it on either side, yes,
It
yes.
may
I
just
do.
pull up a larger list.
You could pull up a larger list, yeah.
All right. Oh, that's good.
Everything else is non-taxable,
Everything else is non-taxable. It's only meals we deal with.
Right. because you must park. You must pay for parking. I mean, if you're going someplace, you may get a free parking spot. I'm not saying that. But if there's no free parking, you must pay for parking.
Okay.
It's nothing, you can't get around it.
For example, downtown Detroit, I've never found a place down there where you don't have to pay.
Right.
And he's probably gonna say this, you must have a receipt.
Right.
You must have a receipt to get reimbursed for parking. Meals, no receipt, parking, absolutely, yes.
Now okay, so here's Chris's question. You know, the little kiosks they have in Chicago, I've seen them, they've got them here,
Yeah.
East Lansing and whatnot. If you have a receipt from that particular, like online type of receipt, will that work?
Yep,
Okay,
yep. You can do online receipts, you can just, yeah. Or Kevin's gonna show how to do online receipts, so I think you are, aren't you?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, did you say that the parking is
Non-taxable,
always?
always not, well, that's the 60-day rule, but yes, if you get your expense in under 60 days, yes, it is non-taxable. Because you have to pay for parking, there's nothing you can do about not paying for parking, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's good. No, good questions. All right, so we'll go ahead and click the parking lot fee in-state non-taxable. And again, we could favorite that item. I'm just gonna go ahead and, actually, I will go ahead and favorite that and click OK. All right, so you'll see that, when we typed in the expense type here, it auto-populated the actual expenses for the meals, but that is not the case for parking. For parking, we do have to manually enter, let's say we had a $5 parking fee. So I'll go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead, if we scroll to the right here, you'll be able to see this on a full monitor. We've got an attachments icon here. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that. And from here, we can drag and drop or browse from files. So I'll go ahead and show both of these features here. So I'll go ahead and first browse from files. And let's see here. I'll click receipt one.
While
And
he's doing that, if you travel a lot, I would really recommend that you set up a travel folder and put all your receipts in that travel folder, so then you're able to find them. I don't know how much time I spend with people going, I know I have that receipt, I can't find it. Create a travel folder, please. It makes your life so much easier to create a folder that you're gonna put all your travel stuff into.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, it's good. Yep. So this is just browsing from files. This is your typical just finding the document on your computer. And so I'll back out and actually show that again, just so everybody can see it. So I've clicked browse and got a receipt here. So just choosing it from here, choosing your receipt, click open, and that will upload into the attachments window. And then all you do from here is click upload.
Up to you. If you like to put a comment, but it's not required. Comments are not required.
And we can close, or we could, so anyway, I had one document, so next to the paperclip icon, we've got the number 1. But I'm gonna go ahead and show the drag and drop feature as well. So I might have to tinker with the screen a little bit, because in order to drag and drop here.
Yeah, it's easier with two screens.
Yes, much easier.
Yeah.
Let's see, receipt 1. C2. Trouble finding that.
Where did you lose it?
I think I lost it, but somewhere
Well,
here.
just grab retirement or something.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and pick a
Well, there's
random.
receipt one, just pull receipt one again.
Will it take the same one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and make this a little smaller.
There's receipt one right there.
All right. And I don't know if it's gonna let me do it actually, because, let's see here. I don't know if it's just because I'm on this,
You gotta grab it. Did you grab it? from
well, the drag and drop icon isn't,
Yeah,
Okay.
Just grab it and then drop it.
if I drag this and just
There you go.
drop it here. Okay, cool, so it did work.
You see that? Did everybody see that? You just kind of highlight it or kind of grab it with and hold the mouse button and drag it and then release the mouse button and it should go right in there.
Yep, same things here, so it's just gonna populate. You can add a comment if you'd like. Yes. You do have to upload as well.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you do have to finish the upload.
Yeah. Yes,
Right. And then you'll get the message.
Yeah. and then I'll close here. And it let me know it was a duplicate item, but I did that on purpose. So I've got, now you'll see the number 2 next to it. So it'll show you how many documents are attached to this line item. Another thing I'm going to show you here, so within each line item, and actually I'll start here. So across the top of your table, you're going to have different, topics, things like that, that you need to complete, or that are optional. You can move these around if you'd like. But the ones that are listed on the table here, we've got a gear setting icon, which says personalize your columns. So the items that are highlighted in green are the items across the top of your table. If you scroll down here, there's going to be additional fields that are not highlighted green. And if I did highlight these green, and if I go ahead and toggle this on and clicked OK, that field would now be available from my table header.
That's on the far right. It's always,
Yep.
they always go to the far right side. When you load them, they load onto the far right side.
Yes.
Okay, this is, let's show you, we're gonna show you why.
So would you like me to take one off or?
Yeah, okay. If you see reimbursable expenses due to traveler and what's the other one? Actual expenses, reimbursable expenses and due to traveler are all the three columns are exactly the same. The only time you would use them is when you're doing an advance. A TRAUTH would be the only time you would use those columns. To me, those columns kind of clog up your system. So if you've talked to me, I've probably had you remove due to traveler and reimbursable expenses because they clog it up. The other thing that is not on the standard display is accounting template, and he's gonna go over accounting template with you. But accounting template is something you need to add because it makes your life so much easier. And if you would ever go, if you do multi-segment trips, you may want to add destination because then where you have to find destination is underneath where he's going to show you. He's going to expand the screen and show you. The things that are on the title are also, if you take them off the title, they'll show up in the expansion triangle.
Can you show where that drop down was?
Yeah,
Yes, so the gear setting icon that shows,
it's right below generate accounting.
That a
lines.
gear?
yep, that's a gear, and it says personalize your columns. So the green items that are toggled on are the items across the top of the table, and the gray fields are the ones that are not included in the top of the table. I'll click out of this and actually show you. So within each line item, we've got this drop-down menu here. So if I do go ahead and expand that, you'll find all the fields, regardless if they're toggled on or not. So, right. So I'm actually going to go ahead and for this parking line item, I'm going to go ahead and enter an expense explanation. So had to park for conference. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add this expense explanation to the parking line item. So I've added that. Right, yep. I'm just gonna show you, a feature here. So I'll close that. So we've got that expense explanation in there. We've got two attachments. Just like I did for the meals, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the copy feature. If I select this line item and click copy, and then if I paste it to create a secondary line item, just to show you, if you do end up using expense explanation, this does get copied to the new line item. Attachments do not get copied to the next line item. So,
Lodging,
Because it would be nice if we could maybe get a list in writing of what my.
Oh, I thought Michael was gonna be here, but I guess I was trying to be Steve.
lodging is,
Lodging needs an explanation.
incidentals.
No, I'm not talking about Steve, we're talking about
Oh.
expense explanation.
Expense explanation.
Where is Michael, she's saying, they're saying for sure for lodging.
And
We
it-
need to double check what Michael wants because he's the one approved. All
Right.
incidentals,
incidentals,
lodging and incidental.
right, lodging and incidentals are the,
And tell me, you gave me a good thing for the incidentals. I'm not supposed to call it a tip or something.
you can call it a room tip.
Oh, you
or
can call it a room. tip.
Room tip
Okay.
is basically, if you leave you can leave up to a $5 room tip. And that would be like, say you're in a hotel, you have to say somebody helped you with your luggage or something like that, that all goes into that $5. It's $5 a day, no matter how much, and it's not meal tips, it's not, I I'm not sure on taxi, Uber or taxi, but, it would not, it's not a tip for anybody else. It is the room tip. So if you leave,
But according to you, lodging and incidentals be an expense
Yeah.
explanation. Yeah, I will double check with Michael to see.
Please, thank you.
yes. You might want to ask about taxi too, Uber, Lyft, taxi comma, or parentheses or Lyft.
Usually he does one, taxis or Ubers, he does one the starting and ending destination, so I'll
Okay,
double check that. Thank you.
You can tip $5 per day, like the day you check in. and the day you
Right.
check out.
right. And it must be on its own line. Like the lodge, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead.
That's okay.
The lodging can be on one line, but, the incidental must be on its own individual line per day. And it's only, it has to match the number of nights you stayed in the hotel. You may be there 4 days, but 3 nights, you only get 3 incidentals. Because you have to basically have a night stay.
Perfect, thank you.
Shelley, could you request that he put his wants in writing for us, please?
Absolutely.
You
Thank
have
you.
specification too on how you label or type.
Yes, and.
Well, yeah, I already made that note. He wants more detail on the
Yeah.
trip for sure, but yeah, we'll get that written.
It'd be nice if we could have that ahead of time.
Cause we can't just put the word conference.
No,
We
Right.
wouldn't approve that.
Okay.
So, but.
for our testing demonstration.
Yeah.
No, I understand, yeah.
All right. And this will not be here when you're going through it. This is because this is a testing environment thing so that you're not going to have an error message ribbon across the top of your screen while you're doing this. Yeah. So if I click that,
That'll go away.
okay.
Or you have to,
No.
I'm sorry. You must hit validate for your error messages to go away. Oh, okay, sorry.
I think this is a testing
Yeah,
environment
it's,
issue.
it's gonna
Yeah.
keep going until we get everything filled in correctly, so
Yeah.
just ignore that.
So I can expand or collapse this field since we're right there. And so just to reiterate, when we do copy a line item that is not a meal, or sorry, when I do copy a line item, it's regardless, the expense explanation does copy. The attachments does not. Like these attachments that I added, they do not stick with the line item. And then you'll notice, I also have to manually enter this parking expense again, where the meals just auto-filled. But for this one, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna delete this line item. So I've just got one meal, one parking expense. And I'm gonna go ahead and actually show you another error. Let's say, you got past the first page, the trip information, and let's say, you didn't know it was going to be a 2-day trip, but now it is going to be a 2-day trip. So you started it, you didn't check overnight at a temporary work location. But if I changed it here on this page to yes, and then I try to validate, I'm going to get an error message. Did it show that error?
No, it didn't.
Hmm.
It's showing the wrong error. Cause it's still caught on generated counting lines. Try generated counting lines again. It only showed you one error.
Yeah.
Cause it
Just
should.
That's an error, right? The one that-
There, okay.
There
now-
we go.
Here, now try it.
Okay.
Try the, it's caught. It should show you an error that the meal, the, lunch is the wrong tax status. Is the error he's trying to get.
Should I just delete these and start?
No, try generated counting line one more time. Now try the validate. Drop down your arrow and make sure that your lunch is, you know what, you had it on the wrong line.
On the meal?
Yeah.
Sure.
you-
Okay.
Yeah, you must put the overnight at temporary work location, yes, on the meal line. That was it.
Okay.
Now I see.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So if I click yes, for the overnight at a temporary work location for the meal,
Right.
and then I click
Validate.
validate,
There you go. The expense type is not allowed based on its taxable status. That means you've got your meal, because he said overnight, he gets non-taxable meals. So that's what we look for there. But again, if he goes over and he looks at the if he goes to the top and looks at the square with like that, That should take him right there. It'll take you right to that expense. That one is wrong. And actually, if he were to put his cursor in the box, just put it in backspace on the 1061. And then just start typing the word lunch. You'll notice that there's no taxable lunches will appear. Only non-taxable lunches will appear. So if you are looking for a taxable lunch and you cannot find, or a non-taxable lunch and you cannot find it, it means that your overnight flag is set either to yes and no or whatever. It's to the wrong one. So that's how you can tell if you're looking and you can't find it, you need to update that overnight flag. Okay,
On that specific line.
on that specific line. Yes,
Definition of a multi-segment.
okay, we're gonna go over that. We're gonna go over that.
Complicated. You're ahead walking through every step of that.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this flag for overnight at a temporary work location back to no, as we had it correctly there. And then put my selection back in here. So if I validate, now I'm all set with that. And this is just doing it correctly. All right, so from here, I can go ahead and if I scroll to the far right here, we've got our accounting button here, and you'll see I do not have accounting template currently on my table header. So if I click the gear setting icon and find accounting template. Yep. So if you click toggle that on and then click OK.
Get rid of that receipt explanation.
Yeah, I'll get rid of that. Just okay, this way they're right next to each other here. So I've got my accounting template now for
I'm
each of the
sorry.
line items.
Okay, say you've made a mistake and you're not sure and you've added and subtracted and you want to get back to the base, go back, hit the gear again. You've got it all messed up. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You see the reset? Don't reset it, Kevin.
Right.
If you hit reset, it will take you back to the factory settings. So, I mean, that, if you go, I don't know what I did wrong. I've got all these columns. I don't want them. I've got ones I want, I can't find. Just hit the reset button. It'll take us back to the beginning and then you can fix what you need to fix. Okay?
Without losing your inputs.
Right. You won't lose your input. And this holds, these settings are on every expense from now on.
Oh, good.
So you don't have to do this every time. You're gonna do this when you begin, and then this will hold through every expense.
It'd be set for you, and if I
Yep.
did something different, it would be set for me, so maybe I like to look at it a different way, and again, toggling those configuration columns, that really only shows you what's displayed. It doesn't have anything to do with what is required, that's set up in the system.
And everything's behind the scenes. Everything is still behind the scenes. It will not remove data that you have entered. It will just not make it visible or will make it visible.
So does that apply for if you move the column, does that column?
Yes.
Can stay in that place?
Yeah, it'll stay in that spot too. Yes.
All right. So Cheryl, do you want to talk a little bit about the accounting that's first put on these expense line items?
When everyone has a default accounting, and if Kevin, go ahead and hit accounting. And this is, oh, we gotta hit, yeah, there's no accounting template here because it's your default accounting. You do not have a default accounting assigned to you. You have to know what your accounting template is. I don't know what your accounting template is. If you call me and say, I don't know my accounting template, I'm gonna tell you, I cannot help you on that. I can help you put it in, but I do not know what it is. You have to know what it is because each department, each section of each department, they all have their own accounting template they have to use, okay? I cannot, but this is your base accounting. The rest of it, 313 is your department. We just put it in unit 313, but you all are in your own specific unit. Your unit will read what it's supposed to read. And then scroll over a little bit. Object is more. Okay, and there's one more, okay, it's not here. Okay, also go back to the left, Kevin. Hit, again, we have our friend the triangle. Go ahead and click that, and this is more. More accounting that can be fixed, added. This is all this stuff. The only thing you may ever do down in here, scroll up a little bit. A little bit more. We're looking for location.
Yeah, it was there.
Right, oops, where was it? Did I miss it? I never can find location. There it is. Okay, location. The location for this person, does anybody know what C033 means? Ingham County. Ingham County is number 33. Eaton County is number 23.
The county code.
It's the county code. There is also another one called X000. That is a statewide. That some departments use that one. I don't know. You guys, that's another thing you'll have to know, but the C0 is the first three numbers of
We've
the,
never, I'm just telling you, we've never dealt with this, we've
Yeah.
never been asked to add this.
so probably won't have to.
Okay.
But if you ever get a, error message saying location is missing, this is where location is. That does show up on occasion. Yes,
How did we get, I'm sorry, I think I missed a step. How did we get to the accounting, to this accounting team though?
okay, so we hit the box that says accounting. Doesn't matter which one you pick.
Yep.
And then to get to more detail, you hit the little triangle again and expand it.
That's the, yeah, the expand collapse there, triangle.
Triangle
Sorry.
right there. But like I said, most people never change anything down in here. But there is a bug in the system. Right now, in this, not in test, if you were to put your accounting template in that box right there, I cannot guarantee that it will populate. And in the beginning, I know Sue, Spagnolio would send stuff back and you'd be going, but I put it in this box and it wasn't holding. And so what you have to do, which is why I had Kevin add it, is go ahead and, just close, don't cancel, because cancel, we have to make sure. If you cancel, you have to say yes. If you close, it just closes it. See, okay, so in the accounting template box over here is where we did come up with your, what was it, 313?
34234.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, we saved it as a favorite. I looked it up and I saved it as a favorite. Okay.
25.
2025.
Oh, 25, yeah. Oh,
So
no,
we're doing,
data is
yes.
only from 24.
Yep.
So we have to use, this is old data, sorry. You're right, it is 25 now, but we're using old data, so we have to do 24. Because the accounting template hasn't been updated yet.
Everybody has the accounting code template and puts it there,
Yes,
it will save and populate.
it will,
And-
yeah,
You can save it as a favorite, right?
yes.
right. So now what he's gonna do is he's gonna hit generate accounting lines. He's got it in there. Hit generate accounting lines and now go back to accounting. And you'll see the accounting template has shown up and look at the unit. Remember the unit was 313? It's now 3200. So the unit has changed to go with the accounting template.
We don't understand what the unit means.
I don't either. It's some reference that the accounting people know about.
Okay.
I
As
just
long
know,
as we put in our 313342234
yes.
2025.
It'll
Yeah.
automatically.
It'll automatically, and if he drops that arrow down, go ahead and drop our expansion arrow down again.
A unit is your section, like Sigma,
right.
Sigma is 171, that's DTMB, and our unit is 3700. So that is Sigma's unit, and so whatever your
Well, the
unit would
reason
be.
we
Uh-huh,
And then that number is our Title I number. Majority of our expenses come out of that.
Okay.
right.
There's something else Shula's gonna share with us today, that occasionally that may change depending on the reason for our travel. But we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
But thank you.
So then if he scrolls down, some of this stuff may have changed. I didn't.
Just pre-populated based on.
Look at your location now ends up with, we're taking you out of Ingham County and putting you in a statewide location. It's just,
We can ask you about that.
yeah, okay. So one thing I want to tell you, there is a number. Scroll up to the top. I've got to remember what it's called. I never can remember. No, I can't. There is one number that you cannot absolutely change. And I'm not seeing it.
Major program?
No, object code.
Okay.
It's object code. You never will be able to change object code because object code, you don't have to write this down. The system knows this. 4,000 means in-state taxable expense. 4,001 means in-state non-taxable expense. 4,002 out-of-state taxable. 4,003 out-of-state non-taxable. Those are hard-coded. You can never change them in the program because they call the expense type you are using. And so that is something that you can never, ever, ever change. So don't even, it's called an object code. So that's something that you don't have to worry about. You'll never,
Or here, it's just called object.
oh, it's just called object. There it is. It's 4,000 because he used in-state taxable. So that's the 4,000. That is something that cannot be changed. So don't ever try it. Okay, sorry.
All right, I'll close this and go ahead and copy and paste this accounting template to the next line item as well. And then I'll scroll up and click.
It's a favorite and it comes up.
If you copy a line, you call it.
Yeah, if you copy the line, the accounting template will come in.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if you copy your line, that'll automatically, otherwise you gotta put it in each time.
Yes.
Yep.
right.
Okay,
And then you always got to hit generate.
You
account.
must
Yes.
generate accounting lines because that populates with the new accounting.
So do we put accounting as one of our columns?
Yes,
Okay.
I really recommend you keep it as one of your columns because,
So keep accounting, but add accounting code template, but for the most part, we'll ignore accounting people.
yeah, but you can remove reimbursable expenses and due to traveler, which I think I had you remove. Those two can be removed. Because those are duplicates.
You said we can remove due to traveler and reimbursement. expenses,
Right. Yes, those two can be removed because those are duplicates of the actual expenses. Do
Right.
not, okay. Anything from attachments to the left, do not remove.
Okay.
You need, unless you never are going, unless you are assigned a state car and you're never gonna drive, you need to keep mileage details. You need to keep everything else.
We do have, we regional consultants do have a state car, but periodically we do have to drive our own cars, so I would recommend that we keep that there just in case.
Okay. I don't want to interrupt. Sorry.
all I was gonna say is at the end of this expenses page, so you've got all your accounting template information. You've clicked generate accounting lines. So the last thing you have to do is click the validate button on this tab in particular.
Okay, more, what, yes, sir.
So maybe you covered this when I stepped out. I apologize.
okay.
Is there a way, if you're doing, multi-days and put in I forgot parking on the first day and I put it in, I always put it at the bottom that you can move those.
No.
Move those around.
No, it's okay if your parking, is on the bottom. If you, maybe you wanna do all your hotel rooms and then do all your parking and then do all your meals. You can do it, and
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter what order it's in, and you cannot resort.
He's got OCD back there.
That's okay. The other thing, okay, nobody's asked this question, but premium miles and standard miles. Is there any questions about that? Okay, standard mileage means that you applied or requested a state car. Oh, no, excuse me. Premium miles means you requested a state car and you were denied a state car.
So in our case, that means if your state car is in for service.
Yes,
Only if it's in for service, and you can't drive it, you could get premium mileage.
right.
Any other time, you have your state car available to you, and if you choose to drive your own car because of other business, it must be standard.
It must be standard. And it doesn't matter, one thing people get caught on. Select City, Traverse City, Grand Rapids, Detroit, has nothing to do with standard or premium miles. It only has to do with lodging and meals, okay? Standard and premium mileage is only if a state car is available or not available. Never, nothing to do with, where you're going. It used to be there was a 100-mile limit, there's not that anymore. Go ahead. Yeah, they did away with that. So you can drive you can drive literally to Iron Mountain and get premium miles all the way to Iron Mountain and back.
And this, that, what,
Go ahead.
how do you, so they're all premium or they're all?
No, if you have documentation, you must have some kind of documentation that a state car is not available. Either a letter from the motor pool or stating that my car is in the shop being fixed. Then you can use premium mileage. But if you decide, hey, I'm gonna take my family on a vacation, I don't wanna deal with a state car, then you get standard mileage. I'm just gonna take my own car.
Basically, you just have to have something from the carpool saying that you are unable to.
Right.
Receive it.
Right,
That trip.
right.
Okay.
But if you, like she said, if your car's in the shop and you can't, then you can get premium mileage to it. Yes. Any more questions about premium and standard mileage? Okay. If you're not sure, call the help desk and we'll go over it with you. We'll work, if it's like, but it's really important to have some kind of documentation that you can't use a state car to get premium mileage. If in doubt, use standard.
And I know Michael wants, if you do use your own car for some reason, other business, Michael does want expense explanation for that. And you can just say other business. And that's all you have to say, but you have to say something. And if it's a really big trip, maybe talk to me and let's just discuss it first, but just to make sure we're good. Okay.
Can you do multiple receipts, like, I don't know, the first, second, third, like in the same line?
Yes, you can put multiple, it depends on your department's rules. You can put, like, say you are going to a conference and you've got the conference agenda, you've got the hotel receipt. You can put both of those on the same line. That's okay. But this department, I think they want your receipts on the line that associates with. Some departments want everything on one line. Some departments want everything on the expense it associates with. But you can put multiple, and actually, Kevin, can you go back to an attachment?
Yes.
And if you go to the browse, you can only drag and drop one, but Kevin could go to like a list. Kevin could highlight a couple of them. Can you highlight a couple? Well, yeah, he could do that. And then if he does open, all three of them will flow across at once. That's why I really recommend you create a folder. So then you can just haul them all at once and drop them all at once. You're not searching all over your computer for your things.
Michael will want the receipt on the line for the actual expense. I know Michael.
Right, but like I'm saying, but if you have your out-of-state if you happen to go out of state, your out-of-state authorization, your agenda and your hotel, that could all go on one line.
Okay. Perfect.
But when you're talking parking lot, that goes on its own line. Yeah. Go ahead.
And Shirley, for the hotel, for 2 or 3 days, you can just do it one time.
One line, they're gonna talk about that, but yeah.
Yeah, one line.
Yeah.
So, okay, so then he has no errors, and so he's just gonna hit continue.
And then you want to make sure you hit validate on this.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, if you do not hit validate right before you hit continue, it could error. It'll give you an error. You have to go back, you have to hit validate. Even if there's nothing wrong with the expense, it just isn't what it does.
Yep, so from here, I can go ahead and just click the continue button and move across this progress tracker to the summary page, the last step here. So from here, we can still add attachments if we'd like, drag and drop or browse from files. We can, late expense report explanation is only if the expense is more than 60 days past the date.
That's the last day. So if you go, so what's today? November 13th? So say you went to a conference and it ended on September 15th and you're putting the expenses in today. You're still not at the 60-day mark because it's the end of the conference. But if your trip is multiple single day trips, then up to September, whatever 60 days is, up to September 13th, it's gonna all be taxable. Anything past September September 14th and on is going to be
But
non-taxable.
it's actual days, not business days.
It's actual days, not business days. True, it's calendar days. It's what the calendar said. And actually, if he did do a September date, like say he used a date in September, it will tell you you are over 60 days, you need to leave an explanation. That is an error and you will not be able to continue if you have an expense here that is over 60 days. It will stop you. Don't be 60 days. I don't plan on going vacation until next April, so I'm here almost every day.
Past the 60 days, you have to take all those line items and change from non-taxable to taxable.
Yes. Okay, but if you have submitted it in under 60 days and it's been rejected back to you, the 60-day counter has stopped. It is 60 days to your initial submission. So if you've got half of an expense, I shouldn't say this, but if you have half of an expense report and you're still waiting on a receipt or something, submit it. Get that thing submitted, because then the clock stops. Go back and fix it later. Go back and fix it later. It is initial submission is when the clock stops. So if you know you're gonna be over the 60 days, get that thing submitted and then finish it up later. So that,
Yeah, add,
yeah, add more.
add a line item, it still meets the submission deadline.
Yeah, it still makes,
So I throw in the line item, submit it, and then finish it up.
That sounds like a plan.
actually, yes, you could do that. Yeah, be careful. Okay. But yeah, try, please. I'm there almost, I do have every other Friday off, but I am here 9 days out of the pay period and from 7 to 4:30. I'm more than willing to talk to you, help you. Ask Linda. But yeah, please don't give me, I just was too busy. Nope, I'm just as busy as everybody else is. Please contact me and we'll work it out. We'll get it done.
All right, so from here, we'll just go ahead, click submit, we're ready to go, and submit that travel expense report for approval. So we've done that, we're good to go. We can either click our home button, go on with our day, but you'll see a pending item here. If you click that, that will actually show you the track work in progress. So this shows you where in the approval process, the travel expense report is located. So currently it's assigned to Michael Powell. Yeah. Now, let's say we, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think that you're gonna say what I was gonna say.
Okay, so let's just say we go back. Let's say we forgot to do something on the travel expense report, or we just need to make a change. We can go ahead and click this 3-dot menu. And this also works if you get back into the transaction from the home page or anything like that. So if you click the 3-dot menu, you can click this recall from workflow. And that will actually bring it back to you back in draft status, where you can go ahead and click this edit button and make changes and then submit again once you've made those changes.
So, any questions about what we just went over?
The trip name, you're gonna need more details. And we asked the question about, I know it's somewhere, but the time that we can actually charge meals, like
Oh,
how early in the morning do we have to leave to get breakfast? How late at night do we travel to get dinner?
Before you do that,
yeah,
I'm just doing a time check.
Oh, yeah.
We can go on.
You
It's
have,
up to you.
we can give you, at least till 10:30 or longer. If Michael's supposed to start at 10:30, but I can push him a little bit.
'cause
But we can at least go to 10:30. I know everybody's gonna want to break, but I think this is really.
I really want to do the multi-segment
Yeah,
real
go and
quick.
do that.
Let me talk about time real quick. Very important. Breakfast is basically from 6 AM to 8:30. But, you must leave before 6 AM and you must not return until after 8:30. So there's a quirk in the system. It's always been there. 5:58. You must leave before, you must put in 5:58 or earlier, and you must put in 8:31 or later, okay?
Can you put that in the system? Because
Yes.
The drop down?
Yes, you can. You can actually physically type it in, but if you're gonna, but be careful, you can do 9 o'clock,
Right.
you know,
What was the other time?
58
for breakfast?
8:31.
Or
Or you can't, you have to return after that one. The span for breakfast is basically 6 to 8:30, but you have to be before. Lunch would be 11:29 to 14:01. Before 11:30, after 2 o'clock. Okay? And dinner is 17:29 to 20:01.
5:38.
5:30, yeah, 5:30 PM to 8 PM is dinner. You must, those are the times you must leave before and return after.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes,
So several years ago, a colleague, gave a travel reimbursement tracking sheet.
okay,
And, it's old but it's got the times, it's got the accounting template, everything on it. Has this ever been updated? Are you aware? It was on the bottom, there was a 4-page, like, travel,
go,
information, and this was the very last page. I
Can
use
you
this
go-
every time I travel.
okay, can you go to DTMB? No, Michigan.gov/DTMB.
I've never seen. It's awesome.
Just up here.
Michigan.gov/DTMB.
What time I write it down.
Okay, right here, if you go to Michigan.gov/DTMB. I'm hoping it will load. Okay, it's not gonna load. There is then, okay, well, I was hoping that would load. It's not gonna load, I guess, because we're here. And then you go to,
Here we go.
okay, now he is gonna go, now go to services, drop down services, and go to the bottom of the list. And there's travel. Go ahead and click on travel, and then go down. This is, if you scroll down, over on the right, there's travel rate, there's your travel rates. There's your, actually, all your travel regs are there. If you scroll up, it shows you a list of hotels that, travel arrangements right here. Oh, that's one other thing. If you are going to stay in a hotel, or use an airplane, do not book it yourself. Do not use Expedia. Do not use booking.com. Do not. We use Conlon, Frosh, Concur. It's all the same thing. You must use that website, or you will not get chances are you may not get your flight paid for. You may not get your hotel paid back at what you paid. You must use that travel website, okay? Please, if you don't know how to do it, I can show you how to do it. Yes, ma'am.
Even if you're getting the state rate.
Even if you're getting the state rate, please have a Conlon. I mean, it's now $98 for the state rate. They will do $98 plus tax and fees. You have to have your receipt.
We've always been told that if we're staying, so if we have a conference to go to and we're staying in the hotel of the conference, we can book it ourselves and get reimbursed at the rate of the.
You usually can. You
And then we
probably,
can just put a note.
Yes. but if they can't get you the rate that the conference is saying, try booking it through please.
Okay.
Please, I hate telling people, you didn't use Conlon, I cannot guarantee I will get all your money back for you. I hate telling people that. Yes.
We do the secretary, so that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thing is, a couple times when I tried to use Tomlin, for the hotel I want to stay at, I can't get the state rate, but if I go in as an IHG member, I can get the state rate.
Okay, so then you're okay. Then if you can get the state rate, good, good. The state will pay, I know of a lady, who doesn't work for this department, and she has a hotel she likes and the state pays for it. They will pay more than, they will kind of give you a warning. Are you sure this is the hotel you want? But, they usually authorize you to stay at the hotel and they will pay that rate
Person.
through Common. You can actually book rental cars through them too.
Don't do that.
Don't do, well, no, that would be if you're going out of state. You guys probably never go out of state. But yeah, please be very careful booking your own stuff. Why are you using, and I mean, I understand your IHG because you can get that, but don't use your own points. Use the state. The state is sending you on this trip. Don't use your mileage, your airline mileage and things like that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear I use my airline points. Use your airline points for yourself. You know, I mean, yeah, use your Delta card for your free luggage. I understand with that one, but no.
Okay, so because we are limited on
Yeah.
time, Michael, we're gonna have to push you just a little bit. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, Michael.
But what I understand the multi-segment trip, but, that's important, but I think more importantly, we need to hear about, I know we said it, but hotel, if you have a 2-night stay, all goes on one line.
Right.
But can you go over the meal thing, like the all-day meals,
Yes,
the breakfast, lunch, that's an
Yeah.
important one, so they're not putting every meal on
Okay.
a separate line. Can we do that real quick?
yep, we can do that one real quick. So he's gonna change to overnight at temporary work location and add a couple days to your thing, so
Yep.
we don't.
Yeah, this is a new one. So we've
Yeah.
got November 7th or 5th through 7th. Click the insert icon. All right.
So we usually do, oh, yeah, you're doing meals, not lodging, sorry.
Yes.
So with meals,
So
you
under-
know, go the other way, hit cancel.
Okay.
Put your cursor in the box and
Okay.
then, okay, so what was the first meal of the day that wasn't paid for? If the hotel offers breakfast, unless it is, and you have to have a really good reason not to use the hotel breakfast. You have to, if you say, no, the breakfast wasn't up to my likings, well, I've had people, I mean, travel people call the hotel and go, what do you offer? Well, we offer eggs and bacon and da, 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 da. It's like, no, you get the hotel breakfast or you don't, you know. So what was the first day? So first meal of the day that wasn't paid for. So if you want to say breakfast, so go ahead and just start typing the word breakfast. And then if he pulls it down, you'll see a couple options. You have the option of breakfast, breakfast lunch, or breakfast dinner. Breakfast hyphen dinner is not meals all day. Breakfast an ampersand or whatever the character is a character that the system does not like, so we had to use a hyphen, not an and symbol. So breakfast hyphen dinner is breakfast and dinner. But, okay, but you have no meals being paid, you have to pay for all your meals, so then you're gonna back up. No, hit the backspace key, please, sorry. And then start typing the word meals. And there's your meals all day. And again, are you in a select city or non-select city? And, okay, if you are going somewhere and it's not so much anymore because now Traverse City is included and all of Grand Traverse County is included. But at one time, if you went out to Acme to the Grand Traverse Resort, which was not a select city, but you went into Traverse City for dinner, which was a select city, because you were staying in Acme, which was not a select city, you did not get a select city meal because it has to go with where your hotel is. Or where the conference is. Where is the conference? Is the conference at a select city or a non-select city? That might be true like in Holland. Holland, I believe, is a select city, but if you go to Mattawan, which is not a select city, you know, or go ahead.
I was just gonna, I do a lot of traveling between Lansing and Grand Rapids.
Okay,
Grand Rapids is a select.
yes, it is.
And like, I may be in Lansing one day. If I have to go to Grand, I try to schedule it the next day to
Right.
Grand Rapids. So
Right.
I'm not doing as much driving,
Uh-huh,
but I'll get errors if I put, you know, I don't know where the cutoff is for for meals. Okay, for dinner, is it where I'm staying
yes.
tonight or the night before?
That's kind of, I know, that one is, it would be, why are you going to what are you doing in Grand Rapids? You're doing something in Grand Rapids and then you're eating a meal, right?
Right.
So then it would probably be the select city. Where Lansing, but like lunch, where is you know, breakfast, that's really, I would actually want to talk more to Michael or Sue Spagnolio, because does she just travel for you guys or not? Yeah, that's kind of a hard one, because I'm not totally sure how they want to handle that one. Because would your breakfast be, because you had breakfast in Lansing, that would be a non-select city, but you're having dinner in Grand Rapids, so then you cannot use the meals all day because you had two different instances of meals. So, but if you are staying in Grand Rapids for 24 hours, then you could use the meals all day. But if you have, yes,
So you would never use meals all day if your hotel serves breakfast, right?
correct, you would use lunch hyphen dinner. Or if the conference you're going to serves lunch, breakfast hyphen dinner. Or, yeah, there's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and breakfast, dinner, and then there's meals all
So
day.
yeah, if the hotel provides the meal, you can't claim it unless you got a really great explanation.
Yeah.
If the conference provides meals, you can't claim those either.
Mhm. You have to have some kind of documentation if you say, you know, I have a gluten allergy, I have celiacs, I have what you need to, they need to know that you have issues with food before, don't just say, well, I wanted to go to Bob Evans that day. And it's like, no, that doesn't roll. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that doesn't work just because you were tired of the hotel food and you want to go to Bob Evans. That doesn't work.
It's the only advantage of doing meals all day, just saving yourself line items.
Yes,
Okay,
We want
but there's no cost benefit to it.
no, there is no cost benefit, but you also don't have to add that accounting template to 3 times. I mean, I know you're copying the accounting template, but
It saves Michael time, as well as improving our expenses, so you don't have to look at 3 lines, you look at one.
right.
Same thing with.
And, oh,
One line instead of 3 lines.
show them the times for a middle day. Okay, the first day of a trip, the times are the time you leave until 23:30 or 23:59. The middle days of the trip, not the last day, but the middle days are 00:00 to 23:30. Because those are the middle days of the trip, or 23:59. It doesn't matter, they accept them both. Which 00 means you were there at midnight. If Sue sees or Michael sees that you were there at midnight and you did not leave until the 2300, he knows it was a full day trip. And then the last day is 00 till the time you walked through the door at the office or at home. And that is another thing about mileage. You have to use the closest place, your OWS or your home, whichever is closer to your first destination. If you're going to multiple destinations, you have to use, I know you may start from home, but you have to use, do you guys have OWSs or not?
Our home is our.
OWS, official workstation?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, OWS is official workstation.
Yes, that's-
Okay, so then you don't have that. Okay, some departments have that you have to use the closest,
We used to before COVID.
but now, okay, now you don't, okay, yeah, yeah. And I will warn you, there are 5 different ways from Grand Rapids to Ludington.
Huh?
Or Traverse City, 5 different ones from Grand Rapids to Traverse City. MapQuest is a fickle beast, and it'll be like, wait, I didn't go 20 miles out of my way or something. They will accept what is put in the system. MapQuest does have some quirks with it. And it will always be mileage will always be different because of one-way streets, entrances and exits off to a highway. The 2 mileages are never the same, or rarely ever the same.
One thing I will say about some of these questions that were being asked relative to what's allowable, when it's allowable, things like that. Keep in mind, these are state travel policy questions. These are not Sigma. Sigma used that information, programmed it into the system so that it would be, but the only reason we're able to answer it is because she's got so much experience and she knows so much. But if you really have a question that you're not sure of, final authority would be your travel person
Sue
in your
Spagnolo.
department. So.
Am I just butchering her last name?
Spagnoli?
Say that again?
Spagnolo. Okay,
Right.
I'm probably butchering her last name. I've known her forever.
He's off to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
My last question is, when you were talking about the meals and
Mhm.
hotel, whatever, and you talked about a different time. So once you put the initial time for the first day and the ending time for the last day, you have to change the time each day?
Yeah, that's what your expansion, that's why if you're doing meals, you could copy and then the times will stay.
But then you have to adjust the times.
So you have to adjust the time.
You have to adjust the time, so the starting time would be, what is the starting time, 0, 0,
0:00:0,
0, so like this is the middle day,
Uh-huh.
so 0, 0, 0 is the starting time for today.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay,
the ending time would be 12:59.
and I haven't gotten any error messages for not doing it.
Okay,
Okay,
what could happen is Sue could kick it back to you because of that.
so let's start doing that, so we can all be on the up and up.
Okay.
Michelle?
I just want to hear that again because I
Okay.
put in my start time and my end time. I've never done.
So she's asking us to adjust each line, each day's line
It
item.
depends on what Sue wants. If Sue's
Okay.
okay with it,
Okay.
then you guys are okay with it.
Alright, well,
Cause that's the total
We'll
time
ask,
you,
we'll ask Sue then.
yeah, we'll have to ask Sue because
Sue
of.
She has always told me, I know Sue real well.
Good, good, good,
She's
good.
my friend. She's always told me put in my work hours.
Well, that doesn't make sense. No, that doesn't make sense at all.
Okay,
We'll work on this, we'll work. on
yeah,
this.
that's a departmental policy as to what
Well, I
you
don't think
guys
we wanna do work hours, because then you're not gonna get your dinners or stuff like that, or it's not gonna show that you spent the night, other than that you checked the box and.
No, you see,
It, for the middle days, it may not work for the last day. And it may not work for the first, but the middle days it will always work for, because that's the way.
Well, we can work with Mike.
We could-
and
yeah.
what-
But, okay, does everybody know the help desk phone number?
No, I put it in my phone.
It's 517 284 0540. I'll repeat it. Option 2. Okay, 517-284-0540, option 2.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Alright. I know we didn't get to everything, but I so appreciate your time. Thank you so very much. This was great. Then I look forward to the recording so I can pass it on to others. And maybe we can do this again.
please, if there's any questions. The other thing is, I don't, do you know how to show them the email address? The Sigma-ESS MSS. There is an email box.
I shared the SharePoint page and have all the.
Is that on there on the SharePoint page? Good.
Okay.
It has all that too, yeah.
Jump to that page.
Yes.
Michelle.
The big SharePoint page.
Keep in mind,
Looking
the
for upgrade.
telephone number telephone number option 2 that she gave you will not go directly to her. But in all likelihood, if she's in and she's not busy with somebody else, it will go to her.
Yeah, there's a couple of us
They'll
that answer
forward
that
to her.
line. And they're all good. They're all good.
Yeah, I'll bend there.
There's your email right there, isn't it?
Scroll down, it's right there.
Oh,
Is it
okay,
right?
there we go.
There we go. Yeah, this is, especially if you're working on late at night, it's just like, I gotta get my expenses in. Send me an email. I'll talk to you the next morning.